We will be getting to a little bit of a preview to the finals. Like I said, round one of the finals starts with Collingwood versus Melbourne. If you could just give us this won't be our official tips, but at this stage, one, who do you think will win, and two, how do you think it will be won?
I think this is the hardest one out of all of them. I think it's gonna be Collingwood. It'll be under a goal because it always seems to be Collingwood. I think it's just going to be one. I think if Nick Dacos plays, they'll win by 2 or 3 goals. If he doesn't play, they'll win by about a goal. And I just think their defence, Collingwood, is going to hold up better against the Melbourne forward line. I just don't think, with Melton going down now, I still don't think they have the forward structure of Melbourne.
I think this game will be won by Collingwood. I will say, though, I think the game will be won in the midfield because I think both forward lines are probably their weakest line for both the sides. I just think that Collingwood, their rebound and their speed, their rebounding could be the way they could beat Melbourne, and getting there, like you said, with the forward line structure of Melbourne. Now they've lost Jake Melksham, who I don't think at the start of the year anyone would have thought that he would be the most important player in the forward line, but the way he's played over the past 8-10 weeks for Melbourne, being able to be a really good goal source for them, I think that is actually a really big loss. And I think Bailey Fritsch will be okay, but he is still a little bit underdone, and I think he did get a little bit lucky against the Swans that Nick Blakey was refusing to stand next to him in that last quarter to allow him to kick 3 easy goals, and I don't think Collingwood will allow that at all. So I will say Collingwood at this stage, but yeah, I think this game will be won in the midfield. After that, we get to Friday night, the first elimination final, Carlton versus the Swans, and I'll go first with this one. I'm going to tip Carlton, and I'll say that because I think one of those key forwards will get on top of the Swans, because Sydney's defence is can be well beaten if a key forward can get on top of them, a big bustling key forward. And I think Charlie Curnow, he wasn't in the best of form when they met the Swans earlier in the year, but now he's in really good form, and he's been able to take over the Swans in years gone past. One thing I will say, though, is I think the Swans could do a little bit better at the MCG. They will be able to use their kicking skills to get around the ground and move the Carlton defence. But Sydney, I don't think, can win it in the midfield, and I think that's where one of their weaker lines is for the Swans this year. So I will say that I think Carlton will win it.
Yeah, I think Carlton will win. I think they'll dominate more in the midfield. I think that they're more... they're a bit more bigger, in my opinion. They're a bit more experienced with Hewitt. Cripps will be back, and Chera and Walsh. So they will be pretty good in there. I think, like you said, that they've just got a more... they've got the best forward duo in the game. And I just think Wiedering as well. He did hurt himself in that game against the Giants, but I think that the 2 weeks will give him plenty of time to recover, and I think Wiedering will play a big game against probably McDonald on him.
Yeah, maybe McLean. But yeah, I think that's one thing as well, is it will be interesting to see if Jacob Wiedering does get a week for that line gouge that he did do on Toby Green. I will be interested to see how that goes.
I don't know. I think it'll be fine.
I think he'll be fine, yeah, but it will be interesting to see how that is adjudicated. So your tip Carlton, I've tipped Carlton. Next one, which I think is the biggest 50-50 out of all of them, which is St Kilda versus the Giants at the MCG. Now, this is kind of a disadvantage to players at the MCG for St Kilda, although they've had a couple of games this year where they have won there. I mean, they did beat Richmond over there, I think, earlier on in the year. This is just such a toughie. I think I'll let you go first because I really don't know.
I think it's the Giants. I think that St Kilda would have begged the AFL to play this at Marvel. I think they would have begged them to, but it was just never going to happen. But I still don't think they're going to get more than 60,000 to that game. I don't believe. I still think they're going to get less than 60,000. But I think the Giants do win. I just think it's going to be interesting who plays on Toby Green. I think you're going to chuck Wilkie on him.
I think you
have to chuck Wilkie. I think you have to chuck Wilkie on him. But I think that their mid. It's Sam Taylor. If he's not back, they might. It will be an interesting game, I think.
Yeah, because Max King was rested for the last game of the season.
Yeah, so Max King will probably come in. Sam Taylor's the one that they think's not going to play week play the first week because it is a hamstring.
Yeah.
But they'll do everything possible to make him play. I think the Giants do have a better midfield, but it's going to be an epic midfield battle, I think, with Briggs and Marshall in the midfield.
That'll be a great rough
battle. I think that's the best duo combination. Matchup.
I think they've been the most
for the second half of the season.
Well, I think they've been the most informed ruckman basically the last 6-7 weeks of the season. So I'll be interested to see how that goes. I'm going to go the Giants as well. However, I don't think the Giants are that much better at the MCG than they are at Marvel. I think they would be a better team on Marvel Stadium as well. But nonetheless, yeah, I don't agree that there'll be much more than 50,000 at that game either, because both the teams don't exactly have a huge supporter base.
Yeah.
And St Kilda don't struggle most weeks to fill up Marvel. So I don't know if they're going to be exactly filling up the MCG with that first final, but I think this one will be a really good watch.
There's also a 3:20 as well, which isn't a great time slot for the game. So I don't think it's going to be more than 60,000 there.
Yeah. So I'm going to be picking the Giants as well. And I just don't trust St Kilda at the moment. I think they are the most... I think they are the team. If the Bulldogs made it, I think they'd say them. They're the team that...
making up the numbers.
Yeah, making up the numbers. I feel like that's St Kilda as well. I feel like they really banked all their wins early in the season, and they were lucky that the fixture kind of fell into lap for them, that they were able to get North Melbourne, West Coast in those few period, and Hawthorn as well. So I am going to pick the Giants because I think they're the better form team. But if St Kilda are to win this, I think they've had a really good year in saying that as well. From where they've gone, from where they were last year to even made the finals is a really good achievement for them, and I think Ross Lyon could definitely set them up over the next few years.
Yeah.
But after that, we get to the final game of the week one of the finals, the second qualifying final, which is Brisbane versus Port Adelaide. Now, I know you're pretty bullish on Port Adelaide. That this will be the only one you can't see Port Adelaide winning. But I do give Port Adelaide a slight chance here, because there have been times where Brisbane have had these home finals, and it's always been like, oh, they're easy wins. They're going to be making the they're going to be making the next week pretty easily. But we've seen Brisbane have these home finals before. What was it, a couple of years ago? They went out in straight sets, playing 2 games in at the Gabba and going out straight away. I give Port Adelaide a little bit of a chance here, but I can't go past Brisbane. I'm not going to exactly bank on Port Adelaide. I'm not going to be tipping them at this stage. Maybe we'll see what happens. But Port Adelaide do have a couple of players coming back in the next few weeks. They do have Charlie Dixon coming back. And I think
he's about 70-30 to play, I reckon.
Okay.
Yeah, so he should come back, but
I think Scott Lysette could be a chance as well. He did play in the Sandful, so we will see how that goes out. I think Brisbane at this stage, probably.
Yeah, well, I've said Brisbane all along. So my reasoning behind it is also Marshall was a laid out. He should be back. Dixon, you don't know. You need him back, and Scott Lysette you need back as well. And I think you also need Trent McKenzie. But it's a lot of players to come back. Does it ruin the structure? That's
Jeremy Finlayson needs to find some form as well.
Yeah, Finlayson I thought played really poorly. Sam Hayes was subbed out in that game against Richmond, and they did put Finlayson as the sole ruckman. Maybe that'll help him a bit, but I think the midfield battle's the one that's going to stop Port Adelaide as well. I think that Josh Dunkley, he will go. I think he'll go to Butters, and Jared Berry will. Either Dunkley or Berry will go to Butters. So